Okay, so the whole early access thing is honestly really confusing, and I feel like at this point EA is kind of being shady about it with how much we are seeing with the pack. It's really starting to make me think that there really isn't much more than what we saw in the deep dive stream, on the gameplay trailers, in the reveal, on the initial blog post, and that is for the lack of early access content. And by the time you're watching this, you're probably like, Matt, early access content is up now. And yep, early access content is coming today. The embargo does lift today, July 19th. I'm filming this at 11 a.m. and I'm assuming the embargo is like 1 or 2 p.m., maybe 3 or 4 p.m. Eastern, the latest, but it's usually 1 or 2 p.m. Now, here's how things usually work, and I've talked about this before with early access. There's normally the regular early access that all of the game changers, all of the EA Creator Network people get, and they get the game on Tuesday right after the patch because you can't play it before the patch. With the patch coming on Tuesday and the expansion coming out on Thursday for everyone, you get it on Tuesday right after the patch drops, and you have, I would say, 24 hours or less to film and edit whatever you want before the embargo comes on Wednesday. And I really do strongly believe that they have given this early access to all of their EA Creator Network people. So, of course, that early access content is going to be dropping today. Now, it looks like there's other early access content that's going to be dropping today. There is another type of early access that they give. There really is no name for it. I call it the early access. They normally hand pick individuals. I don't know how they select them, but there is a much smaller group of people that they choose, usually some of the more larger notable Sims creators, and they usually give them a copy of this game that does not combine with their other packs on the EA app or Origin. It's just the expansion pack and the base game. And this is one that they can play before the patch comes out. And this is that version of the game that you see a watermark of their Origin ID or EA app ID floating across the screen. If you're familiar with that early access content, that is because they have a version of this pack that is not the press review copy that is given to either most or all of the EA creators on patch day. They are playing on a completely separate program. So I'm just finding out now from not just the comments on some of my latest videos and streams, but also over on Twitter and Reddit, that some of these handpicked individuals have actually had this early version of the game with the watermark floating around on the screen. And I can bet you by the time early access goes up today, at least for select individuals, you're going to see that watermark, meaning they've had this since before the patch. They've had this for weeks, apparently. 1 to 2 weeks they have had this pack and the base game. I don't think they have any other expansions with it, so I don't know how much they're going to be able to show off in terms of pack integration, which I do think kind of sucks. I mean, they probably have this so long and there's only so much that they can show off and do. I'm sure they eventually got bored at some point, but the reason why I want to talk about this and really say that I feel like this is kind of shady on EA's end is you're giving creators this for a week or likely even more than a week, but they can't release this content until what, 24 hours or even less than 24 hours before the expansion pack comes out for everyone? That just makes me feel like you're trying to hide the negative press that you know you're most likely going to receive for 24 hours before the pack releases, instead of doing what they sometimes do and let these very early access folks that have the watermark floating over their gameplay footage upload much earlier than the day before the pack comes out. Normally those that get this version of the game with the watermark uploaded way before the other EA game changers or EA creators upload their footage, which is usually always 24 hours before. There have been times where I believe it might have been a little more than 24 hours before, but with a lot of the latest expansion packs, there has been a time crunch. Not really much time to watch their early access content before the pack comes out for everyone. So what I want to know is, why is this? Why am I reading that we have creators having this pack for a week or even longer, multiple weeks, and they're not even allowed to post this until 24 hours before the pack comes out? And it's not even just that, it's that on top of the fact that there really hasn't been much hype. The Sims team hasn't hasn't really been teasing much. They haven't been posting pictures, screenshots, not much of anything over on Twitter. And during the deep dive, they almost refused to show us what you could do at the Equestrian Center, saying, you know, it was too late in the day, but instead of skipping forward to the next day or recording it and editing it into the stream, because they also did reveal that it was pre-recorded, they didn't show us anything at all. They just proceeded to tell us information that we already knew from the blog post and gameplay trailer. There's just a lot that seems to be so shady with this and so hidden, and by the time this video goes up, early access is probably going to be coming out, so I guess we'll be seeing for ourselves how lackluster the pack really is, but I really hope that they don't do this going forward. And honestly, with future packs, future expansions, or game packs, I guess we now know if they do hold all early access, no matter how early you're getting it or what version of the game you're getting, if they hold all of that for 24 hours before, they probably know the pack's lackluster and they're trying to hold back that press for as long as possible, because you do have to think about this from a business standpoint. The earlier and the sooner they let that content go up and they show everyone how shallow the game is, the less pre-orders they're going to get in, and they might even have people canceling their pre-orders. So this is probably, I don't want to use the word damage control, but this is definitely their way of preventing that sort of thing from happening. You know, share your thoughts below and what you think about this. This is just my thoughts and my insight based on what I truly believe with early access, at least with a lot of what I'm being told. It's just crazy to me. A week or longer is a crazy amount of time to have early access but not be allowed, not just to even post it, but even talk about it. And I feel like that's definitely contributed to the radio silence that we've been receiving. Also, the last thing that I want to mention, and I'm gonna keep this really short and sweet just so this video doesn't go super long, where is our community manager for The Sims, more specifically global community manager? We have not had a single tweet, a single retweet, or even a single like since the end of April. It has been 3 months. Not a single interaction for the latest expansion pack that is releasing tomorrow. This is of course starting to make me think, is Frost no longer on the team? But usually when sim gurus leave teams, they usually make a post letting everyone know that they're leaving, but we didn't get that here. So I don't know if Sim Guru Frost is a part of the team or has left, but thought this was very, very interesting. It almost feels like at this point there is no community manager, or at least no public facing one, and I definitely think that's something that the Sims community really needs, especially right now during a time of confusion. Share your thoughts below. I'm interested in hearing what you guys have to say, and of course, early access content's going up today, so check it out. I don't know who's uploading, but of course, enjoy it. I have been reading from many sources, not just in my comments, but over on social media, that Lil Simsy has a lot of stuff planned, stuff that she has been filming for the past week. Again, I don't know specifics on how true that is. I'm just going based off of things that I've read, so that's why I say speculation, but Lil Simsy is definitely one to check out, and I'm sure there's tons of other creators as well. I love you guys. Take care. So long and happy life simming.